For the third time this year, the Federal Reserve has raised interest rates, and this time by 0.75%. With this, the stakes for the US economy and American consumers are high. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell made the announcement on Wednesday, where he reiterated that they are committed to bringing inflation down.
It is essential that we bring inflation down if we are to have a sustained period of strong labor market conditions that benefit all. From the standpoint of our congressional mandate to promote maximum employment and price stability, the current picture is plain to see. The labor market is extremely tight, and inflation is much too high. Against this backdrop, today the Federal Open Market Committee raised its policy interest rate by 0.75 percentage point, and anticipates that ongoing increases in that rate will be appropriate. In addition, we are continuing the process of significantly reducing the size of our balance sheet.
Well, this is the first time since 1994 that the Fed has made a 0.75% hike. It comes after last month when the Fed announced a 0.5 percentage point rise and a 0.25 point rise back in March. These rate hikes will make borrowing money for homes, cars and other purchases more expensive for consumers. It will also reduce the demand in the market and hopefully cool down the rising prices. Inflation has shot to the top of voter concerns in the months leading up to Congress's midterm elections in November. It's also soured the public's view of the economy and weakened President Joe Biden's approval ratings. Biden has sought to show that he recognizes the pain that inflation is causing on American households. But he's struggled to find policy actions that might make a real difference. The Fed's decision to impose a rate hike as large as it did on Wednesday was an acknowledgement that it's struggling to curb the pace and the persistence of inflation. America's inflation, like most of the world, has been worsened by Russia's war against Ukraine and its effects on energy prices. The president earlier stressed his belief that the power to curb inflation rests mainly with the Fed.
They come back to America as investment. Why should we be upset if foreigners want to invest here?
Well, New York correspondent Susan Tarani is joining us live from New York City to give us more on this. Susan, this was a very big rate rise, the biggest in nearly 30 years. But what's it likely to do, help or hurt the economy?
Right. So as you mentioned, the Fed is really trying to halt this fast-track train in what seems to be heading towards a possible recession. And, on the one hand, Jerome Powell is optimistic that by slowing the economy and raising these interest rates, it would cool down the labor market without raising unemployment rates. However, many economists are saying that's easier said than done. He says in a post-pandemic economy that will happen. We're already in a stagflation, so it's unclear whether or not, that's an optimistic view or not. But again, as you mentioned, there is no doubt anyone with a mortgage, a car loan, or even a credit card is going to feel the pinch. Just to give you an idea, if you have, for example, a 0.25 increase generally, an increase on a benchmark for an interest rates, that's $25 on $10,000 if you borrowed. So 0.75 would be $75 extra on $10,000 if you borrowed. The Fed says that it's planning on increasing its rate on a monthly basis until it cools down inflation. By early 2023, the average American would probably pay something around $230 extra on $10,000 it borrowed than it does today without raising salaries. So, we'll wait and see. The Fed has an optimistic viewpoint. American consumers are reacting in poll after poll saying that they're hurting not only at the grocery store, at gas pumps, but generally, in day-to-day living as well.
Susan, thank you. And we'll be coming back to you in a few minutes to get your take on the next story.